I can't remember shit. Hey! And that was me trying to play the solo for Nothing Else Matters that we did a cover on with Zephyra. And some coffee, very, very important. When I left the band in Gothenburg where I played drums and started to play guitar instead, we kind of started from scratch in that band. Was maybe not as professional as my previous band. I had a lot of fun and I got to write a decent amount of songs in that band. I think I evolved quite a bit as a songwriter. And we had a lot of different members through the years there. And in the last iteration of the band, we were quite talented, but still we didn't go anywhere. And when I left that band, I also decided to leave music altogether. Because in my head, if you hadn't made it before you were 30 years old, it was too late. I don't really know why I thought like that. I think it's because many of my heroes had their first records quite young. I wasn't 30 yet, by the way, but it was like, yeah, I'm getting too old to make it. In my head, I decided that, okay, no more music, at least in a band sense. And during that time, Åsa had started to sing for me at home. We started to record some covers and some own songs on our computer. At that time, I was a truck driver. One of my customers, he was a guitar player, and yeah, so I met this guy Henrik at work. I met him every day because I delivered packages and pallet to him. So we talked music a little bit every day, talked games and so on. We talked about, yeah, why shouldn't we get like a rehearsal space and just jam or whatever, play some covers or just play. The natural choice for me was to play drums again. We got a rehearsal space in Borås. And Åsa has just started singing. We decided we three together should maybe just jam together, make covers or play or whatever. No plans or no ambitions really at all, just having fun. That was actually the beginning of Zephyra. And we played some Gamera cover and Nightwish, Scorpions. It evolved quite fast. We made a couple of demos and I can maybe play riff from this is a song from that second demo. Yeah, and the bridge section or the solo section of that song I actually reused in a later Zephyra song. So this riff I'm going to play now is from this song Stay Forever, from a second demo, but I reused this riff in a much faster version in a later Zephyra song from our second album. Do you recognize this one? Eventually it led up to me playing guitar again. For the same reason I left that thrash metal band in Gothenburg, because I wrote a lot of songs and I felt very restrained behind the kit. And we played a lot of shows. We played in Metal Town and in Stockholm, and acoustic shows in the radio, the TV interviewed us, we were in the papers. A lot of stuff that happened. We wanted to really go somewhere. We really wanted to take it as far as we could. In 2012 we recorded an EP called First Blood. If you have seen it, it has 4 songs with a bonus track, an acoustic one from the radio. And I thought that I would play a riff from Undone. So Undone, I bet that some of you have already heard. It was the one that's, I think, the most think about is the song that was a bonus track for the Japanese version of our first real album. But on this EP, it's another version of Undone, the first version we did. Some parts are the same, some parts have been changed. And I'm gonna play the intro riff for this song. In the version that was on the Japanese bonus track, the riff I'm gonna play now was a keyboard. But from the beginning I played it on guitar. I played it like this. Later on it became a keyboard instead. During the chorus of the song I played like this. The verse riff from that song remained basically the same as the version that came later. This one. And another song from that EP, First Blood, is called Are You Really Blessed? And it later became My Gift, My Curse on our second album. Same thing here, the riff I play in the beginning of this song on the EP ended up being keyboards on our second album. So, our first album, Mental Absolution. Do you get it? What do you think of it? I can talk a lot about this album. I feel mixed emotions. It was a lifelong dream for me to be able to record an album. You have made it in a way when you released an album. The album didn't turn out as I think none of us in the band wanted to. So with this album we got a record deal basically. We traveled to Italy 2013 in December. It was cold and it was a lot of pressure. It was our first album. We were gone for 3 weeks. It was a lot of pressure and cost a lot to make an album. I am one part proud of the album. I know that many of you likes the album quite a lot and that makes me happy, but it didn't turn out sonically as I heard in my head, or any of us heard in our heads. The most of us were quite disappointed with the outcome of the album. I don't want to blame anyone for that. Sometimes things just happen. That's the nature of it. So it was quite underwhelming to release the album when you're not really satisfied yourself. But the good thing about it is that we learned a lot. We matured a lot, how to record an album, how to think and everything like that. And the bonus track, Undone, was mixed and mastered by Christian Donaldson from The Grid in Canada. When we heard that song, it really captured the sound that we were going for. I think that Christian really understood what we were going for. He really nailed it, but we wanted obviously that the whole album would sound like that. But it didn't, and no hard feelings or anything, but it felt kind of split. One part happy and proud and one part not really satisfied. When we came to the second album, As the World Collapses, finally the vision that I had in my head from the beginning became real. For me, this album is kind of our first album, even though it's our second, because it had keyboards that on the first album I didn't really know how to make them. I was quite new in that department. On this album I finally taught myself how to program keyboards. We recorded this at home in Borås, and not at home, we recorded in a studio at Mikael Andersson MRG Produktion. It meant a lot to us to go home after a recording session. We didn't have to sleep there, we didn't have to live there. We recorded our 4, 5, 6 hours or whatever, and then we went home and slept in our own homes. We didn't have to take a lot of time off work and stuff like that. So it meant a lot of creativity. Compared to the first album, we had a record deal before we made the album. For the second album, we chose another direction. We recorded the album first, and then we looked for labels to work with. Everything just with this album, compared to that one, it was such easy with everything. Everything with design, And this is mixed and mastered by Christer Donaldson, that mixed and mastered our bonus track. And everything in this album was quite easy, I believe. It just felt right. Good songs, I think many people say, and I agree with that we really found our sound at this album. So I'm gonna play a couple of riffs from there, if I can remember. This song is called Virago, which is actually the first song that Åsa wrote all the lyrics to. And the verse goes like this. And then we have As the World Collapses. And the next song I'm gonna play a riff from is the song I think many of you discovered us by. It's the song that still has the most views on YouTube for us, Zephyra, that is. And we have played this song for every show since we released the song. Even have played it with Slashy Sue. Coffee, it's good for you. So this album is really dear to me. It was the first time that I personally felt that we can sound as good as the pro bands, basically. I'm not saying that we are better than the bigger bands or more talent, not that at all, but it was the first album that I felt that we could compete with like the bigger bands. I am feeling proud of this album still to this day. I wouldn't change a thing. Of course, you evolved since then. We recorded this in 2015, so it's some years ago. But I think it still holds up. It was a big, long journey with Zephyra. We recorded a third album, Fall, Rise, Conquer, that I think is a great continuation of the second album with awesome songs. And the special thing about that album, Fall, Rise, Conquer, is that we had 2 songs in Swedish. And if you wonder why it came about that we made a Swedish song to begin with, I got inspired from a Norwegian band called Evig Natt. I recommend checking them out. They have great music. And they had a couple of songs in Norwegian, and it really spoke to me. It was really inspiring to hear it. I don't know, it just felt kind of not mysterious for us, because we as Swedes know Norwegian quite okay, but it gave a different flavor to the music. So it began in 2017 when we recorded a single called The Darkest Black. And in the bridge section, we had a part that was only Swedish, and it was kind of a test to see if it's gonna work, if you guys gonna like it, because we didn't really dare to make a whole song in Swedish just yet, but we made the bridge in Swedish. And after that song we got a lot of compliments and comments about the Swedish parts, and they really loved it, especially from people that aren't Swedish, because I guess it's kind of exotic for other people. So it really got me spinning to make at least one whole song in Swedish. We ended up making 2. So the first real Swedish song we made was Fånge in frihet. I think many of you have heard a song that I'm really proud of as well, because It has everything for me. It's a compact song, to the point, great melody. Åsa's deliverance of the vocals is top notch, and I'm proud of the lyrics. Yeah, it's about anxiety, basically, like many of her songs, Zephyra's songs were. And it was also like a challenge for me, because to this point it was third album. I've written a lot of songs, and it's kind of easy to repeat yourself with the same words. But when you change language, you have to think about different rhymes and different meanings, and it even makes the song melody a little bit different, I believe. And we made another song on that album called Svart Smärta, and that song is about my perspective on Åsa when she lost her mother in cancer. And that is a really strong song as well. And the third album was the last of Zephyra, actually. We had been together for 10 years, little more I think. If you wonder why we quit the band, it's not just one answer. We all got along in the band, no enemies at all. But I think we felt, at least me and Åsa felt kind of burnt out. We worked really, really hard, and we didn't get the success that we wanted. And of course it's easy maybe to say, yeah, you get a lot of fans and keep working and it's gonna eventually break and become a big band. And yeah, of course, maybe if we have continued, we maybe have become bigger. But you know, we have ordinary jobs and we have life on side of the band. It goes to a point where you can't really you can't really take it anymore. And we felt that it's better to quit the band now than we become enemies in the band. It wasn't an easy decision at all, because we knew that many people would really get sad, and it was kind of emotional for us as well, because we have lived and breathed and cried and loved and hated this band for 10 years, basically every single day. So when we decided to end the band, it was a double-edged sword. It was kind of disappointment that we didn't become bigger. At the same time, when we had really slowed down and started to think about it, we were really proud of what we achieved with the band. You have to know that many bands doesn't even leave the rehearsal place. We have played around Europe, we have played in radio, we have been on the newspapers and on TV. We have done a lot of, made music videos, albums. We have made a lot of things, but when you're in that wheel, you want more, and you want more success. And we always felt that we were like just below the bigger break. That kind of, I think, frustrated us in the end. I don't regret it, even to this day, that we quit the band, ended the band. You never know, sometime in the future we maybe bring it up. But as far as now, it seems unlikely. And if we want to play some Zephyra songs, we can play it with Slashy Sue. We did it at our first Slashy Sue show. We played Demagogue. I'm proud of the years. We did a lot of good stuff and met a lot of awesome people. That's the best part, meeting you guys and meeting fans and meeting new people and other bands and clubs and arrangers. And when we ended Zephyra, we decided that, okay, the music is now over for real. We needed a real break from music and social media and all these numbers. How many views do we got and blah blah blah, and how much does this cost and everything. We really needed a break from that, and we really had a good break. But for me, especially me, the music came back to me much faster than I thought. I think I was away from the music for a month or something. I almost left social media and didn't care about posting stuff, and just, okay, the music side is now finished. But then I started making some own songs and some more Slashy Sue songs. But I think that's an idea for another episode. I think I have talked already too much. It's hard to just narrow it down, because 10 years, 15 years, it's a lot of time and a lot of stuff has happened. So I tried to make it as interesting as possible. Yeah, but this was fun. I hope you think it's fun. And thank you guys for being on our Slashy Sue, what the fuck do we call it? Slasher Hangouts kallar vi det, va? And thank you guys for being on our Slasher Hangouts. It's so much fun to talk to you guys. Now I'm gonna end this video with fuck you. Thank you and good night.